Thank you, Madam President. Colleagues, I just wanted to take a moment to acknowledge that May is Asian Pacific American Heritage Month, and the annual celebration at the Capitol was originally scheduled for last week, but obviously did not happen. Michigan is home to over 325,000 Asian Americans of over a dozen ethnic groups and across our great state, from Detroit to Sault Ste. Marie. Asian Americans are the fastest growing population in Michigan and an important one. From Chinese American immigrants who built the first Detroit Chinatown with their laundries and restaurants, to Burmese, Nepalese, and Bhutanese refugees in West Michigan and the Upper Peninsula, and immigrants that arrived more recently, Asian Americans are part of the historical and current fabric of our communities. Also, Asian Americans are healthcare professionals providing care for COVID-19 patients and researchers working to develop vaccines. Over the weekend, I participated in a virtual event hosted by Rising Voices of Asian American Families in conjunction with Tsuru for Solidarity. During that event, my daughter and I learned how to fold paper cranes, and we learned that Tsuru is Japanese for crane, and that Tsuru stands for compassion, peace, and solidarity. There is this really incredible effort by Japanese Americans who were interned as children during World War II with their families simply because of their ethnicity. These inspiring leaders have been protesting the detention of asylum seekers and children at the border and conditions in Border Patrol facilities. Last summer, they strung 20,000 paper cranes as a show of solidarity and protest outside Fort Sill, which was formerly a Japanese American internment camp, and at the time of the protest was planned as a facility for unaccompanied minor children. Due to their efforts, it actually did not become a facility for unaccompanied minor children. This activity of folding paper cranes holds more meaning to me now than just the folding of paper. Not only is it a time for me to get my daughter off of the screen and do something with her hands, but it's also the importance of solidarity, which is extremely resonant during Asian Pacific American Heritage Month, and especially during the COVID-19 crisis. Much of Asian American history, and even the term Asian American, centers around solidarity. Multitudes of different Asian ethnic groups who come from different countries who at times were in conflict and at war with one another, coming together in America due to common issues, deciding to be called Asian Americans. But it has also meant Asian American solidarity with other communities, between Filipino and Latino farm workers in California, between former Japanese American internees and Muslims when the Muslim ban was first announced, and with Asian American leaders involved in the Black Power movement, like Yuri Kochiyama, in whose lap Malcolm X died. Solidarity these days means being part of Asians for Black Lives, recognizing that being Black and going for a run should not mean you might get killed. This month, during this pandemic, the solidarity and compassion represented by these paper cranes is something that we all need to remember. We should always recognize that our struggles are bound up with one another. Whether it's recognizing the disparate impact of COVID-19 on Black folks in our state, or understanding that Latino and other immigrants face critical barriers to healthcare, the fear that people in prison have that they will contract COVID, or the worry that some Asian Americans have that they will be the victim of a hate crime because of COVID-19 scapegoating, we need to be in solidarity with one another. And that starts with empathy and recognizing during this challenging and uncertain time that our futures are intertwined. Japanese legend has it that if you fold 1,000 paper cranes, you will be on a path out of sickness toward health and recovery. I hope that our path out of this public health and economic crisis will be one that's based on compassion and solidarity. Thank you. Happy Asian Pacific American Heritage Month, and I ask that my remarks be printed in the journal.